We aren't disappearing, we're becoming iconic. Today I'm sharing the 5 scents that act like a magnetic field. Comment below. What was the last perfume that got you a genuine compliment? I was at the market yesterday, just picking up some basil and a bottle of Pinot Noir. You know, the essentials. I'm in my favorite oversized linen shirt, hair in a messy clip, probably looking like I haven't slept since 1999. I'm at the checkout, and this gentleman, probably in his late 40s, very well put together, actually forgets his change. He stops, turns around and says, "I'm so sorry to interrupt, but I've been following that scent trail for 3 aisles. What is that?" Now at 60, some people tell us we're supposed to start fading into the background. Wear beige, be quiet, don't ruffle feathers. I say, absolutely not. We are in our main character era, and our fragrance should be the opening credits. Today, I'm not just showing you perfumes. I'm showing you the 5 scents that stop men in their tracks. Not because we're looking for their approval, but because we're reminding them exactly who is running the room. Let's dive in. Let's talk about category 1. I call this the old money classic. You know the look. The woman who has an original oil painting in her foyer, fresh peonies on the table, and her hair always looks like she just stepped out of a salon, even on a Tuesday. This isn't a scent for a girl. This is a scent for a woman. It's sophisticated, structured, and frankly, it's a little intimidating. We're looking for notes of iris, oak moss, or a very cold, crisp rose. Think Chanel number 19 or the legendary Guerlain Shalimar. Now, why do men notice this? It's because it represents stability and status. Most young women today are wearing scents that smell like cupcakes or laundry detergent. When you walk by smelling like expensive suede and rare florals, it's a total system shock for them. It's the olfactory version of wearing a perfectly tailored blazer. It says, "I have exquisite taste and I probably own the building we're standing in." I wore this to a gallery opening last month, and a gentleman, very dapper, silver hair, the whole bit, actually apologized for staring. He said, "I haven't smelled anything that elegant in 20 years. That's the power of an old money scent. It's not about being trendy, it's about being an icon. It reminds men of the classic stars Grace Kelly, Lauren Bacall, women who knew that a little mystery is the most attractive thing you can wear. But maybe you don't want to be the boss today. Maybe you want something a little more intimate. That's where our next category comes in, the skin scent secret. Category 2 is what I call the skin scent secret. If category 1 was a power suit, this is a silk slip. It's intimate, it's personal, and it is arguably the most dangerous weapon in a woman's arsenal. The magic of a skin scent is that it doesn't smell like perfume. It smells like you, but on your very best day. It's warm, it's a little salty, maybe a bit musky. It mimics the natural scent of clean skin, but elevated. Think notes of ambrette, iris, or ISO E Super. Here's the storyline. You're at a dinner party. The music is a bit loud, the wine is flowing, and you're leaning in to hear a story from the man sitting next to you. He doesn't smell you from across the table, but the second you lean in, he stops mid-sentence. Why? Because he can't tell where the perfume ends, and you begin. It's an invitation. It's the olfactory version of a secret shared in the dark. At our age, we've moved past the stage of needing to announce our arrival with a fog of floral notes. We want them to come to us. I wore this to a jazz club last month. The saxophonist, a lovely man, very talented, came over during the break and said, "I don't know what that is, but it smells like home." Imagine that. Not "you smell like flowers," but "you smell like home." That's the power of the skin scent. It's subtle, it's sophisticated, and it drives men absolutely mad because they can't quite figure out why they're so drawn to you. But what if you're feeling a little more extra? What if you want to leave a trail that they'll follow out the door? Well, then you're ready for category 3. All right, ladies, put your seatbelts on. Category 3 is for the nights when we aren't looking to blend in. This is the spicy trailblazer. If category 2 was a whisper, this is a conversation starter that doesn't take no for an answer. We're talking deep amber, bourbon vanilla incense, and maybe a hint of tobacco or black plum. These are heavy scents, but on a woman over 60, they don't smell heavy. They smell expensive. They smell like a life well lived, and a woman who still has a few secrets up her sleeve. Here's the scene. You're at a rooftop lounge or a dimly lit bistro. You're wearing that leather jacket you bought in Florence 10 years ago, the one that fits you better now than it did then. You walk past a group, and the air literally shifts behind you. That's your sillage, your scent trail. Why do men notice this? Because it's intoxicating. It's warm. It's like a fireplace on a cold night. It triggers a primal reaction. Most men over 50 are tired of the fresh and fruity scents they see everywhere. They want something with depth. They want a woman who smells like she knows how to order a good scotch and tell an even better story. I wore this to a gala last month. A man very distinguished, probably a retired architect, followed me to the coat check just to say, "I haven't been able to focus on the keynote speaker because of your perfume. It smells like adventure. At our age. Isn't that marvelous? This isn't just a fragrance, it's an exclamation point. It says you're still here, you're still bold, and you're just getting started." Now you might be thinking, that sounds great, but my skin just eats perfume up and it disappears in an hour. Don't worry, I've got the secret layering trick that's going to make these scents last from brunch until breakfast. Now, let's move from the boardroom to the garden. I call category 4 the secret garden muse. This is for the woman who spent her morning deadheading roses or sketching in her greenhouse, and now she's heading to a high-end brunch with a smudge of dirt on her gardening clogs, and she looks fabulous doing it. This isn't your typical flower shop perfume. We aren't looking for sweet, powdery lilies here. We want the green. We want crushed tomato leaves, bitter grapefruit, green mango, or the milky woodiness of a fig tree. It's botanical. It's crisp. It's intelligent. Why do men notice this? Because it's a palate cleanser. In a world where everyone is walking around smelling like synthetic vanilla or heavy laundry soap, this smells like life. It smells like a woman who is grounded, earthy, and has a very expensive hobby. I wore a green fig-based scent to a local farmer's market last Saturday. I was checking the ripeness of the peaches, and the vendor, a charming man with salt and pepper hair, actually stopped mid-transaction. He said, "Excuse me, but you smell like a morning in the Mediterranean. It's the most refreshing thing I've smelled all day." See? It's an instant conversation starter because it's unexpected. It doesn't scream, "Look at me." It whispers, "Follow me into the shade." At 60, there is nothing more attractive than a woman who smells like she's in harmony with nature. It's the no makeup of the fragrance world. But if the garden is a bit too tame for your mood today, and you're feeling a bit more rebellious, then you're going to want to see what happens when we start borrowing from the boys. Now we're moving into category 5. This one is for my rebels. I call this borrowed from the boys. You know that feeling when you put on your husband's or your boyfriend's crisp white dress shirt and somehow it looks 10 times better on you than it does on him? That is the energy of this category. We are moving away from the florals and the fruits. We're talking about vetiver, cedarwood, leather, and maybe a smoky hint of tobacco or rum. It sounds masculine on paper, but on a woman over 60, it is the height of chic. It says you aren't playing the feminine game by the old rules anymore. Why do men notice this instantly? Because it's a total psychological trip for them. They recognize these notes. They're familiar. They're manly. But when they smell them on you mixed with your chemistry, it becomes something entirely different. It's magnetic. It signals that you are a woman of substance, a woman who is a peer, an equal, and someone who probably has better stories to tell than anyone else at the table. I wore a deep woody vetiver to a cigar bar for a friend's birthday recently. I was sitting there with a glass of neat bourbon, and the man next to me, very distinguished, looked like he'd just stepped off a yacht, actually turned and said, "That scent, it's incredibly familiar, but on you it's absolutely captivating. What is your secret?" The secret, ladies, is that we aren't afraid of the dark notes anymore. We don't need to smell like a bouquet of lilies to be feminine. There is a power in the wood and the smoke. It shows you're unbothered, you're confident, and you own every room you walk into. But If the borrowed look is a bit too sharp for your evening plans and you want something that feels like a warm golden embrace, then let's talk about the golden hour glow. Finally, we've reached my favorite time of day, the bonus category 6, the golden hour glow. This is for the woman who has traveled the world and brought the warmth of the sun back home with her. It's the scent of a long, luxurious life lived in the light. We're moving away from the woods and the greens into something creamy and nostalgic. Think bergamot, coconut milk, tiare flower, and a heavy dose of warm sandalwood. It doesn't smell like suntan lotion. It smells like wealthy skin after a day on a yacht in St. Bart's. It's solar, it's radiant, it's glowing. Why do men notice this? Because it's an instant mood lifter. It triggers deep, happy memories of vacations, relaxation, and ease. At 60, we don't have time for difficult perfumes. This scent says you are a woman who is at peace, who enjoys the finer things, and who radiates a warmth that people just want to be around. I wore this to a beachside dinner last autumn. The breeze was catching the scent, and the waiter, a lovely young man, actually lingered a little too long at our table. He finally said, "I'm so sorry, but you smell like the best vacation I've never had." And you know what? He was right. I felt like a sunset in a bottle. This is your feel-good fragrance. It's what you wear when you want to be approachable, sunny, and effortlessly beautiful. It reminds everyone around you that beauty doesn't fade, it just gets warmer with age. Now, let's get real for a second. We've all been there. You buy that gorgeous, expensive bottle. You spray it on, and by the time you've found your car keys, the scent has vanished into thin air. At 60, our skin can be a little drier, and dry skin is a perfume's worst enemy. It just eats it. Here is my secret weapon layering trick. Never, and I mean never, spray your perfume on dry, bare skin. You want to create a scent lock. Apply a thin layer of an unscented, high-quality body oil, something with jojoba or vitamin E, to your pulse points first. Think of the oil like a primer for your face. It gives the perfume molecules something to grab onto. It turns a 4-hour scent into a 12-hour experience. When that man leans in at 10 p.m., he's still going to get that old money elegance or that spicy mystery. And for the truly bold, try double layering. If you have a perfume that feels a little too sharp, spray a warm basic vanilla or a sandalwood oil underneath it. It grounds the scent. It makes it unique to you. No one else on the planet will smell exactly like this blend. When a man asks what you're wearing, you can honestly say, "Oh, just a little something I put together." There is nothing more intriguing than a woman with a secret recipe. So whether you're the old money icon, the skin scent whisperer, or the spicy trailblazer, remember this: the perfume is just the accessory. You are the event. Men notice these scents because they signal a woman who is comfortable in her own skin, who isn't hiding, and who knows her worth. So go ahead, spritz a little extra today. Ruffle some feathers. Be the woman people remember long after the room has emptied. If you loved these pics, I've linked my favorite scent lock oils and all the fragrances in the description box below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We're just getting started on this style journey together.